money on my mind, 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 money on my mind. So money is all I think of. Money on my mind, money on my mind, money on my mind, money on my mind.
All right. Money is always on my mind as I literally forget to put on my headset. So might want to do that. And yeah, that's the day. That's how the day is rolling for us today, you guys. Welcome to another financially filled episode of Financial State of Mind. You are here with your favorite blindie himself, bookity blindie himself, Mr. Fly, Darrin Harvey over here, Financial State of Mind. And I got a very special guest. Just want to remind you guys, you're listening to me on KGPC 96.9 FM. You might be streaming on KGPC969.org. You might be watching this on your favorite streaming platform of choice. But you guys, we got a big guest here today. When I met him a couple of weeks ago now, really inspired by his come-up story. J. Cole has a come-up story. Everyone got a come-up story. But the gratitude, the conviction, the triumph, and the perseverance of this gentleman is just, from one brother to another brother, I just hugely admire and respect this guy. But I'm gonna stop talking and bigging him up. I'm gonna let him introduce yourself. Sir, what is your name?
My man, I appreciate it. My name is DeMarvelous, for everybody that's out there listening. DeMarvelous Carter. Who I am and what I do. I am a producer. I'm a music producer, primarily for TV and film. I've been producing all my life, but professionally since 2017. I am the head of Infinite Audio Music Group, where I lead up of a group of 3 other individuals that are incredibly talented. I always give them a shout out anytime I get a chance. Isaiah Gibson, Leroy Redmond, and David Ethington. Those are my guys. But yeah, man, TV and film is my thing. That's what I do. That's what I'm passionate about. I'm a human being lover. I love humans, yes. except for on the road. I don't like humans on the highway.
This Cali traffic. That's the one thing I might be going blind. I do not miss driving.
Yeah, I don't like humans on the highway. But if we're in the room, we're in a nice setting, I love human beings, man. I love the progression of human beings. And so any chance I get the opportunity to converse and communicate and learn and grow with other human beings, man, I jump to it. And so I'm really glad that you invited me on to the show today.
Thank you. And again, thank you again for taking the time out of your busy day, your busy schedule, your busy life. Yes. You can be over there with wifey right now. I heard you saying I love you.
Yes.
I heard you. I heard that, man. I love it too. I respect it, man.
Yes.
I respect it. But yeah, of course, this, like I said in the introduction, I really respected your come up. So just kind of, as much detail or little detail as you want, just tell us what makes you DeMarvelous. Like, how did you, from the beginning, how did you get to where you are right now?
My mama.
That's right. Shout out to all the mamas out there.
My mama. Yeah, mama, man. She the one who gave me the name, right? Mm-hmm. And now I am tasked with the opportunity to live up to it. And so my mom has always spoke confidence in me. She's always spoke life into me. She's always spoken God into me and kind of given me the strength. The moments where I didn't believe in myself, I look up at her and she saw something that I didn't on days that I didn't see anything. You know what I'm saying? And so my mom gave me the name. She named me after my father. Well, she didn't name me after my father. She wanted to name me after my father, whose name was Dennis. And so he already has a junior. Shout out to my older brother, Dennis. He already has a junior. So she just took the D off of Dennis and put it with Marvelous. She was in such a marvelous state when she was pregnant with me. And she was going through some things at the time and was kind of going through some challenges in life at the time. And she made up her mind that she was going to change the energy and shift the energy. And once she made up her mind, she said, hey, my outlook is completely different. Everything is marvelous. Even this child that I have is marvelous. The sky is marvelous. My opportunities are marvelous. My job is marvelous. And so she kept saying marvelous over and over again. Mm-hmm. And rest in peace to her best friend, Hazel. Her best friend took part in naming me DeMarvelous. And so they took the D off of Dennis and put it with Marvelous and came up with DeMarvelous. And so that's how I got the name. living up to it is a whole nother task. It's a whole nother task. As we all go through this journey in life, we learn every single day. We try to be the best versions of ourselves. We try to learn from our mistakes. We try to be just better in whatever it is that we're doing, whether if it's our craft, whether if it's our family, whether if it's our relationships, just how do we be better, right? And so I take that very seriously, especially in being a father and having a teenager and a 10-year-old. I try to be the example. I wake up every single day. I used to try to move in silence and make my moves in silence, but I allow my daughters to see me grow.
Got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I allow my daughters to see me try new things. I allow my daughters to, like, I was in the living room yesterday morning doing yoga for the first time.
Right.
It was the weirdest moment in the life because my daughter's getting ready for school, but she can't stop looking at me like, dude, what are you doing?
Right.
You know, and I don't want to be embarrassed doing yoga, but
Right.
I allow my daughter to see me, do that. And she felt comfortable enough to come in and say, this is interesting. She sat down and watched me do the whole 45-minute session. But I just try to be the example. Don't be afraid to try new things, even if you're going to look silly in doing those things, And so living up to the name Marvelous, it's a daily mission. Every single day.
And I think you're doing a pretty dang good job of it. And just special recognition, being an example for our youth as a whole, whether it's your children or nephews, nieces, or just, social media at this point.
100%.
Like so much of the youth lives on there. Is very important. And yeah, like, it's great that your daughter has that experience with you, because how many men, especially black men, would that just even happen, doing yoga in front of their daughters? Like,
that doesn't happen.
It doesn't happen.
It doesn't
right.
happen.
But now you've normalized that for her, and that is what is important to me about working with the youth in any capacity, is getting them to understand that this is normal.
Yeah.
Like, this is normal. This is normal, and it's okay.
It's okay.
And that's kind of what I like to do in general with people. Is you got to give them, sometimes you got to give them that permission too. It's like, whatever you're going through, it's normal and it's okay. It's one thing I find about people, and I can tie it, it's funny, I'm using human behavior, but it's also true with finances, is most people, as far as behavior, they're not that unique. You can probably drop them into about a dozen or two buckets.
Right.
The experience that got you to those behaviors are unique. Your story is always unique, but
100%.
Your behavior is not that unique. It's not that unique at all. So me being a financial consultant, a financial coach, I use a lot of my therapy skills that I've developed to analyze where a person's mindset is at. Because even when I'm coaching them on the importance of finances or any particular topic, it could be personal finances, it could be accounting, it can be their business or whatever. If they're not in that right, and you know this, if they're not in that right state of mindset, then it doesn't matter what information you give them.
It doesn't.
It's just not going to retain. It's not going to retain. So speaking of mindset, how did you get to the, like your mindset right now, it's so commendable and respectable.
Thank you.
How did it get there? Like, what led it to where it is right now?
If I could be honest, I feel like it's a natural progression of who I've always been. I didn't understand what self-improvement or self-help was, and I never really liked to read. And then I have a friend by the name of Josh Brown that I grew up with in middle school and high school, and his father's name is Joe Brown. And his father gave me a book called Success is a Choice by Rick Pitino. And I started reading that book, and I said, I want to read every book like this. I want to read every book like this, right? And so from that point on, I knew that there was something out there that aligned with who I was at my core, right? And so when you talk about mindset, I think it's just kind of who I've always been. Introspection is really big. Understanding why you do certain things is really big. Understanding why things are habit is really big. Understanding why you're fearful about certain things, why you're fearful about taking chances, about developing new relationships, the fear of failure. Like understanding all those things, understanding relationships, interpersonal relationships, understanding the progress of getting better, like what you did well when you did something well, what you did wrong when you did something wrong. All those things make me think, right? And everybody's reasons are different.
Right.
we might have the same result, but our reasoning and our why is different.
Right.
And I love finding out the why. And
Right.
there's no one shape fits all to life when we think about our reasons why. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
And so being a father has really taught me so much, because, I thought I knew it all.
Right.
Until I have this 15, soon to be 16-year-old growing up, and I'm giving her all the answers, but I realize that our answers kind of differ.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Because her life is much different than mine. The way she's growing up is much different from the way that I grew up.
Right.
The world that she lives in is much different than the world that I lived in when I was her age, right? And so I'm learning on the fly, and I'm being able to adapt to the things that exist as a modern day 15, 16-year-old, while I'm comparing and contrasting notes to when I was 15 and 16 years old. You see what I'm saying? And so again, we talk about mindset and how that really plays a part. I enjoy really sitting back and understanding that I don't have all the answers.
Right.
And it always leads me to the field of curiosity. Like I like to know what's on your mind. I would like to know what makes you happy. I like to know what makes you fearful. I like to know what inspires you, because even inspiration and motivation doesn't last.
Right.
And so what gets you through when inspiration and motivation isn't there? What gets you through when you feel like it's a greater chance you're going to fail than what it is, what the chances are if you're going to succeed? Like, who are you in those moments?
Right.
Who are you in those moments where you don't feel like going anymore? And to be completely honest, I think that's where 75 to 80% of us quit. And why we all quit in those positions are different. But I'm even more interested in the people that don't quit and say, okay, it's a good chance I'm going to fail, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Right. So
why is that?
So let's answer that question for each other. So why is it that, let's talk about something you've been through. Let's go both give each other examples of stuff we've been through and why we didn't quit. So I'll talk about myself.
Sure.
Obviously, before the tape start rolling, the autos start rolling, I kind of told you about some of the stuff I've been through. And one of the biggest challenges for me was, taking care of my father who had Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
And, I always tell people Alzheimer's is the worst disease in the world. Like, it's the worst disease in the world. I don't wish it on anybody. I don't care, period. Like, I just don't wish it on anybody. And, at the same time, I'm actively going blind. Like, at the point my dad was diagnosed, I couldn't drive anymore.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
So, like, imagine taking care of someone with Alzheimer's, your pops, and you can't even drive.
You can't drive.
So
you have a disability yourself.
Yeah, so it's a disability, and this happens. People, this is not talked about a lot, but disabled people a lot of times take care of other disabled people.
Right.
So that was one challenge that was arguably the biggest challenge I've ever dealt with in my life. At the same time, I'm working a full-time job. At the same time, I'm in a relationship. I'm managing, my dad's care and stuff like that. First, I started caring for him, physically myself. Then I couldn't do it myself no more. Had to put him over to the hands of caregivers. And then I always say this every time, people, this is not cheap at all. I was paying, this is 2019, I was paying $9,000 a month.
Jeez, oh, Pete.
So, I'll never forget, I had about 12 to 14K between me and my dad coming in a month, but the bills was about 17, 18K. So it still wasn't enough.
Still wasn't enough.
Once that situation was over, he finally passed away. He led the rest. I kind of told myself, I was like, I never want to be in a situation where I don't have enough money to take care of somebody.
Right.
So every day I'm tired. Every day I want to quit. And trust me, when you're losing your vision, it's the scariest thing you can possibly imagine. And it's only imagine. You cannot. It's one thing I have had to accept. I can't expect you to know what it's like.
Right.
Because it's that crazy.
Right.
There's some beautiful gifts in it. There's some beautiful jewels in it. But it's the scariest thing. But I will not rest until I make sure that I'm in a situation where I know myself, my brother's kids, and some other people, my girl, those are the main four. But as many people as I care about, I need to make sure that if they get sick or they get ill, financially, we're good. We're straight.
Right.
We're straight. And that is what keeps me going every single day. And that's what makes me not quit, because I got enough reason to quit. I think, and I don't want to use my blindness. It's just my personal thing I deal with. But a lot of people got enough reasons to quit. Right. But like you said earlier, 75-80% people will quit. But the 20% who don't quit, why is it they don't quit? And usually what I found is they have a strong enough reason, and usually it's not even for themselves. It's for others.
Right.
And that's what I realized, and that's what God and my relationship with him has taught me, is that your life is not just about you, it's not the biggest thing. It's people around you, the people that he or she chose to place in your circle to care and love for you. Right. Those are my reasons why I keep going when I have every excuse to quit.
Right.
So that's for me. But what is your reasons? Like, what you've been through a lot.
Yeah.
I know that personally.
Yeah.
Just pick one thing that you've been through that you overcame, and after you overcame it, what did you realize was the reason that you overcame it?
If I can just be honest, as transparent as I can be without offending anyone, I think I didn't take mental health as serious as I probably should earlier on in my life. Culturally, we come from a place where they tell you, hey, man, like, figure it out, toughen up, man up.
Yep.
Man up, boy.
Absolutely.
You know, my dad was militant. You know, he was quick to call me a wimp. You know what I'm saying? But that's just the way we communicated. That's the way our families and men in our culture just kind of communicated. We were just tough, right? We were men's men, right? So I really didn't think mental health was a real thing, and I didn't really take it seriously. And life will take you through some things, and you'll find yourself in a space where you wake up and everything that should matter don't matter. That's the scary part about mental health. It's like when nothing sparks anything, right? Where your family don't spark it, the money don't spark it, health don't spark it, like nothing gives you spark or zeal for life. And how in the world do you get yourself out of that rut? And when you're struggling mentally, there's really not too much you can do, right? And that's where a lot of people turn to, medication, right?
Right.
And again, we talked about my mom. My mom was a praying mom. She named me DeMarvelous, right? And so I think the thing that did hit home for me in that space when I was in a really, really dark space and nothing mattered to me, I knew that I wouldn't be the only person that hit such lows mentally. And I knew that my kids were watching, and I didn't want to set an example on how to fail or how to lose when faced with trauma, when faced with hardship, when faced with mental darkness that nobody can really verbalize. You see what I'm saying?
Yes.
But people can pick it up and say, you've changed and something's different about you. Like, you're not moving around with the same energy and with the same vibes and with the same vigor and with the same inspiration for life. Like, you're different. And in fact, you're kind of dark, and something happens in between time in your brain where the wires disconnect. Right. And so people will tell you, hey, you know what, to get it back, they give you all these cliches, and they give you all these self-help things that, should get you back on the right path. But the truth is, when it's broken, it's broken. Right. And I'm going to use an example, and hopefully I can put it as PG as possible. Right. You can be a gigolo. You can be a sex enthusiast. That could be, you can know all the right things to do in the bedroom. You see what I'm saying? And you may know your woman specifically as to exactly what she needs in order to bring her to euphoria, right? But the thing is, if you have an issue, right? If you have erectile dysfunction, there's nothing you can do. It's broken.
Right.
Regardless of all the information and knowledge that you have, it's broken. So you can have all the details and what you need and how you need to do it, but if it's broken, it's broken. You know what I'm saying? And so mentally, if you're broken, you're broken.
Right.
So you can say, okay, make me a to-do list. And you think about all the quotes and you think about all the memes and you think about all the conversations you had. But if you're broken, you're broken.
Right.
So how do you get yourself out of that space? And I think the only thing that got me out of that space was I got people watching me and I don't want them to go through this valley and not have an answer on how to get out. Or if they have a conversation to say, Dad, so what did you do when you was in this position? Me, I want to be able to say, like, I want to have answers, not, well, I still don't have the answers and I'm still looking. And it was 20 years ago, it was 15 years ago, it was 5 years ago, and I'm still looking for the answers. I'm still running away from the dark truth, you know, like, no, I want to have solutions. You see what I'm saying? And I don't want going into that space to be an excuse as to why I failed, why I didn't keep going, why I didn't achieve everything that was on my vision board, why I didn't do the things that I told them that I would do. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I didn't want that to be an excuse. And so I had to figure out how to fight back, how to be better, and how to be the version of myself that I wanted my kids to really appreciate and admire. So that's why I personally didn't quit. And I definitely take mental health very seriously. And I pray that anybody that is going through anything remotely close to having mental trauma, I pray that you find your way out too, and you also find your why, because it is challenging. You know, the things that may seem normal for your average everyday human being is not normal for them mentally.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I also pray, on the flip side of that, I also pray that people stop playing with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a big one.
I pray that people stop playing with it, because it's nothing to play with. And for the people that truly need the help, because there are so many people that go through things, like I'm going to talk about both sides, right? I'm going to talk about the reality of it, and then also let's talk about the people that play with it. Because so many people are running to it when they go through something. We are here to go through things.
Right.
Every day isn't going to be a rainbow. Every day isn't going to be sunshine, and we're not going to get everything right. And yes, bad things are going to happen to us. And because something bad happened to us, that gives us all an excuse to go do whatever it is that we want to do, whether it's drugs, whether if it's stop grinding, stop working, let people down because I had this happen to me, right? And so at the end of the day, we're supposed to go through things, right? That doesn't mean that we automatically allude to the fact that we're having mental health. Yeah, we're having a bad day, and yeah, it sucks, and yeah, I don't like this, and yeah, it's making me sad, but I don't really have a problem. Right. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And for those people who really don't have a problem, stop playing with it, because when I actually was looking for help, it was a 6-month waiting list before I can see a doctor.
Yeah.
It was you can't tell me that many people in California are going through it. That means everybody. You see what I'm saying? It was a 6-month waiting list to see somebody, to see a doctor about what was going on in my head. And so imagine if I didn't work my way out of that, and if I didn't have the power of God to help me work through that. Forget 6 months. What could happen in the next 6 minutes for somebody that's really going through and that needed?
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? And so I had to keep going. I just had to, because again, my mama named me DeMarvelous, and I got to live up to it. But I got people watching me, you know, not only my daughters, you know what I'm saying? Like my wife, she's watching me. I got family members that are watching me who see me as being a very powerful and a very ambitious and God-fearing guy. Like I wear God on my back, right? Like I'm, you know, I don't necessarily claim a religion or a practice, but I do wear God on my back because I know he's real. I know where I come from. You see what I'm saying? And so like he is my resource. And so if I allow that to defeat me, what kind of representative would I be? You see what I'm saying? Especially if I give him the glory for everything. If I give him the glory for my small accomplishments, my big accomplishments, you know, for the life that I live, if I give him all the glory for everything and I wear him on my back and say, hey, shout out to God, because if without him, this wouldn't have happened. When things get challenging for me and I go out and I just accept failure and I fold and I go and I commit suicide, or I do something that just says, you know what, I can't do it anymore, and I just quit, I am a horrible representative of my source that allowed me to do all the things that I've been able to do in my life. And so I can't represent him that way, and I can't represent my last name or my first name that way.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a big, in business terms, supply issue when it comes to therapists or counselors or anybody who can help people in mental health. It's crazy you brought that up. I'm fairly unique because of my background in sociology and psychology. I knew how important mental health was. Yeah. And then obviously, I've shared it on the show before. My brother committed suicide when he was 31 years old. 31. Had my 8-month-old nephew at the time and 2.5-year-old niece. Okay. So his daughter and his son. And suicide is something not to be played with. That's my thing. Suicide. Don't play with suicide, don't play folks. With it. Like. And I know people, and I won't say know people, but I know stories of people who play with it, and it's not cool. But I've been in mental health since 2014, so I've seen the change. When I was at Kaiser, I was able to get an appointment every 2 to 3 weeks. Oh wow! And then after the shift was the pandemic, right? So once the pandemic happened, I went from every 2 to 3 weeks to every 8 weeks, 7 to 8 weeks. Right. And as somebody who has co-given therapy, as somebody who has consult teenagers, kids, and adults, in my mind, therapy is not effective at 7 to 8 weeks. Right. Like every 7 to 8 weeks, that's not effective. It's not. So I got lucky, and I'm so blessed. Shout out to my therapist, Linda Johnson. She's a blind therapist. She's literally blind. Look at that. And she's a therapist. And she's the person, she's one of the people I talk to about everything. Yeah. And she's one of the only people who can give me that perspective, as someone similar to me in my situation. But yeah, like people need to stop playing with it, and people need to mostly educate themselves. Respect it. And because a lot of this, a lot of it you can, if it's not serious enough, you don't need a therapist. Just go talk to somebody. And that's what I find about people. Right. They don't like talking. What I find is with people is that they're afraid of whatever information you give to another person, that person's going to throw it at you. Right. And what I feel people need to understand is, I'm not saying that's not a thing to worry about or something that you shouldn't be concerned about. Yeah. But you got to weigh the cost and benefits. You do. And usually, trust yourself to have the judgment to pick the person who you can talk to. That's a fact. So just talk to somebody. You don't need to go to the therapist. You don't need to be on the pills if it's not that serious. Just go and talk to people. Yeah. And it's so important because even in switching this to finance, the number one reason why people tend to be stressed out a lot is money. It's the moolah. It's money. Yes, sir. And the number one reason why relationships break up, other than infancy, is the moolah. It's the money. It's the money. So it's something that needs to be communicated, and there needs to be trust when it comes to it. It needs to be comfortability. Right. Because if it's not, it's gonna mess you up as an individual, and mess up any relationship that you have with a person. Very true. So absolutely, people, I advise them, and we're on a financial show, a business show, but mental health is so important. It's one of the 5 pillars of health, and I deal with it all the time as a financial coach. I told this to my best friend. I have a client who pays me good money to talk to. I swear to you, 35 to 40% of our conversations is not even about finance. It's just about what she's going through. Yeah. Like, and I find that with a lot of my clients. It's like, we're not even talking about finances half the time. We're talking about what they're going through. Right. And it's just like, and I'm all there for it. I love helping people any way I can. But I share that because if you're not even in the right mindset, I don't care how much money you have, how much money you're lacking. It goes back to what you said. If something is broken and that drive is shut down, it's broken and it's shut down, and it is what it is. No amount of money just gives you more options. That's why I love money. This gives you more options. It gives you options, and I gotta make a comment about that. I think before you make the comment, I gotta remind the listeners what they listening to. listening to Financial State of Mind on KGPC 96.9 FM. We're having a great conversation with DeMarvelous over here about just the mindset and the mind state and the mind overall. And please continue.
Absolutely. And piggybacking off of something that you said, I think the second most darkest time of my life mentally was I think my bank account had the most digits in it. You see what I'm saying? So money doesn't fix everything. It gives you options. A lot of people think that once I make, X amount of dollars, I'll be straight. I ain't got to worry about nothing. What's crazy is life will hit you in such a way that you can care less about the money that's in your bank account. Because I was recently having a conversation with my daughter, my youngest one. And so she has an infatuation with just being rich. I want to be rich. I want to be rich. I want to be rich. And she has a lot of talents. She can cook. She's athletic. She's very intellectual. She's a leader amongst her peers. She checks all the boxes. And she came, we're sitting down on the couch and she looks at me and she said, "Dad." I said, "What's up?" And she said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." She said, "You're just very quiet today." I said, "Yeah, I'm fine." I said, "I'm good. I'm good." And so she was like, "Oh, okay." And so she like, "You know what I was thinking about?" I said, "What?" She was like, I want to be rich, but I want to know exactly what to do with my money. She was like, "There's a lot of things I want to do, but I want to know what to do with my money." And I said, "Dad's not silent anymore. Let's have a conversation." Let's have a conversation, And it's just good to have, babies in the house that has that type of intellect and mindset and have those type of thoughts, because we can't remove the finances out of life. It's truly a huge part of life, right? And again, it is the leading cause of divorce. It is the leading cause of depression. Man, when you can't put gas in your car or you can't go get lunch, because you need that last $10, $15 that's in that Wells Fargo account. Yep. That's a bad feeling. You feel like you're trapped. You don't have any freedom. There's nothing like being in a house and your money ain't together. There's nothing like being out and your money ain't together. I remember going on vacations that I couldn't afford to really go on, but I'm there and I got to keep the little $250 and make it stretch for 5 days.
Right. Right. Yeah. Been there, done that.
But I'm on the beach though, and so, it's you can go to the places, but if your finances aren't right, they're not in the right place, or you're not making the steps that are necessary to get your finances in a good place, essentially you're not going to be in the best mood.
Absolutely. And one thing I say, because like I said, I coined the term, I heard it from somewhere, the 5 pillars of health: financial, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional.
100%.
So those are the 5 pillars. And what I always tell people is, it's funny, you can apply this to any of the pillars, but I'm just using finances. You can have the best looking body. You can be, mentally, spiritually, his guy's with you. He's on your side. Emotionally, you cool. Mentally, you cool. But if your bank account is zero and you get worried about the rent being paid, your mental health ain't cool at that point.
It's not.
Your spiritual energy might be getting a little challenged at that point.
100%.
You can go to the gym or Planet Fitness for $10.99. And you can go work out, and yes, for that hour or two you're working out, at that moment you might maybe be good, but then as soon as that workout's over and you drive right back home and you're looking at your gas tank like you said, you're just like, damn, how am I going to pay this bill?
Got them shut-off notices?
Yeah, absolutely. So part of the joy of what I love doing as a coach is really, coaching is mindset training, period. It doesn't matter if it's financial, if you're shout out to Kat, the vegan fitness guy, Kenya, who's doing the yoga. It doesn't matter what pillar of health you attack, or you can go to your preacher or whatever. Coaching is switching up the mindset.
Yeah.
That's what it is. And a lot of people, especially, I would say anyone who's 40 and under, 45 and under, we have to switch up our mindsets when it comes to money, because it's not the same as what it was for our parents.
Gotta rewire the brain.
Yeah, you have, and you can't be mad at your parents because they can only teach you what they know and what they experience. I was taught by both my parents, you go to college, get a good job, that company's going to take care of you.
Right.
Heck, if it's a government, yeah, but if it's a private job, no, it's not. They gonna get rid of you as soon as what we're seeing right now. Money's getting tight. It's harder to get some lending. Companies are laying off people like it's nothing.
When that bottom line get to shaking,
absolutely,
they're gonna shake you.
So, one thing I encourage everybody, and it don't gotta be me. You don't gotta pay me. You can just watch my content, or just go to somebody you trust or read somebody else's book. I don't care, but look at your financial health and treat it like it's mental health, like it's physical.
Yeah,
health,
that's
like
big.
Like it's your spiritual person, because it really is the biggest stressor, especially out here in California, where cost of living. I think the average cost of living takes up half of somebody's income.
Yep.
So it's just like, bruh, like if you're worried about, that's the one thing I'm so grateful for. Talking about gratitude, I'm so grateful that I've genuinely never had to worry about the lights being on my house and paying that mortgage. I've genuinely been very lucky about
That's a blessing.
that. And one experience I had, and I'll pass it back to you. I had this experience where this was 2021, and we're at a park. It was for a friend's birthday at a park, and I walked by the bathroom, and there's a homeless guy.
Mm-hmm.
Homeless guy calls my name.
Hmm.
So I walk up to him. I realized, I won't say his name out of respect, I went to high school with him.
Mm.
He was a senior when I was a freshman. So we all remember the seniors who were cool with you when you were a freshman.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember them right away. And I'm like, what happened?
Mm-hmm.
So like he told me what happened, and it was a bit of mental trauma, a bit of hanging around with a bad crowd. And long story short, I gave him some food. I told him if he has access to a phone, call me. I'll try to get you some work. Just calling around people, putting a good word for him, and try to get you from work. And I never heard from him again.
Mm-hmm.
But what I took away from the experience was, I might be going blind, but I ain't got to worry about having a roof over my head.
You don't. You're blessed.
And I honestly rather worry about going blind than the roof over my head, because
perspective is everything, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And it really, I was already a humble cat, but it really humbled me, even in my situation. Like, I really don't have to worry about this. And there's people right now in a lot of times in Oakland, you walk by a certain overpass and you'll just see people not in houses. And I'm just truly grateful for that. But kind of what is your perspective on money as a whole?
Discipline, and more discipline.
Yes.
So let's talk about not having the money. Let's talk about not having the credit. And let's talk about getting the help that you need in order to get into a space where you eventually have the money and you eventually have the credit. So going through what I went through, I remember saying, like, there's no way I can get myself out of the hole that I'm in. I have no money, I have no job, I have no credit. My credit score is probably the worst in the United States. And just trying to figure it out. Like, how do I get these people paid back? How do I start to make improvements on the things that are there? What do I have working for me? That's on my credit report. How do I generate more income? How do I get some of the stuff removed? Right. And so the first time I went through huge financial turmoil, and I was at the bottom of the bottom, and I was pretty much in the grave, not even 6 feet. I was 12 feet under. And when you're 12 feet underground, you don't really see a way out of that, right? Mm-hmm. But the beautiful thing about it is, if you stay diligent to the process and you trust the people that you're working with, number one, find a financial advisor. I think that's key. Yes. Which is who you are, right? Find a financial advisor. Find a credit counselor that you can truly trust and that have proven results. And if you can find somebody that has proven results, sit down and be educated about the process and what it takes to get to where you want to go, right? Because everybody has different goals. Everybody has different dreams, right? And so when you're talking about what I want for my life, where do I need to be? I need to have a 700 credit score with at least, access to $80,000 or $100,000, or my salary needs to be X to be able to afford this, right? So everybody goes and direction is different. And so I had to sit down and really figure out what I wanted, right? And so I knew that I wanted a house that was at least $500,000, right? I knew that I wanted a newer truck for my wife. I knew that I wanted to be able to buy my car cash. I knew that I wanted some credit cards that had some great limits, right? So I knew all these things, right? And when you're starting off and you don't have those things, you don't really think it's possible, especially if you don't have the education behind it. And thankfully, I was able to get with a credit counselor to kind of guide me in the right direction. And also I had a mentor, a financial mentor that was head of a credit union back in Michigan. Mm-hmm. And he actually became like a godfather to me. And so I had two people in my life to really guide me. And so once you have the information and you have the education, now it's really up to you to be disciplined regardless of how long the process takes. You got to be dedicated to the discipline and the grind that it takes to get your situation over the hill. You didn't put yourself in that position overnight, right? It took a course, many courses of action to put yourself in that position, and you got to just stay down. You got to be disciplined. If you got to, whatever your budget is, you got to stay to that budget. Yes. Whatever your allocated expenses are for groceries, you got to stick to that budget. Whatever your allocated expenses are for paying off debt, you got to stick to it. And not when you get paid, you say, oh shoot, I want to take this $450 and use it to go to this Drake concert, opposed to putting it towards this credit card debt. No, if you have $450 per check to put towards that credit card debt, it don't go to a Drake concert. It don't go to a new piece of equipment, DeMarvelous. It doesn't go to, the night out for the weekend. It doesn't go towards date night. It doesn't go to anything. It goes directly to that allocation, whatever you're allocating it to. And you got to be disciplined through the process, and you got to be disciplined for a very long time, right? And so discipline is my motto when it comes to it, because once you get the education and you get the right people around you that's going to guide you to where you want to go, listen to them. They're not telling you what they want to tell you because they truly care about your well-being and they care about your financial stability. They care about your financial health. Once you're talking to these people and they're giving you guidance, follow the guidance. Do exactly what they tell you to do. Don't deviate. Don't go away from the plan. And no matter how long you got to boogie down and get ugly, boogie down and get ugly, bunker down and get ugly, and go up under the scene as long as you need to until the results manifest themselves. And so discipline is key. A, find some people that can help. B, stay disciplined and stick to the plan. As simple as that. And if the plan takes a year, then it takes a year. If it takes 2 years, then it takes 2 years. But once you come out on the other side of that, the beautiful thing about it is you have options. Yes. You have options. You can walk into places that you weren't able to walk into before and demand certain things. You can apply for certain things without wondering if you're going to get approved or denied. Yep. You're going to get approved. You're just wondering how much for. It's a different question. It's not if, it's how much. Yep. You see what I'm saying? And so that's the greatest feeling once you come on the other side of that. And there's people in life, me, I'm a prime example. You have ups and downs. You see what I'm saying? Where you get your credit together and guess what? You mess it up again. Yep. The beautiful thing about credit is it can be restored. Absolutely. It can be restored, right? And so understand that there's no mountain too high, no valley too low. Stick to the process, be disciplined. If you have goals, financial goals, get the people around you that you need around you to be able to help you reach those goals, and stay diligent to the process.
I mean, you might as well just be a financial advisor, man. You just took all the words out of you couldn't answer it any better. And one thing I want to say to add on is what you just said almost towards the end. You said, it's credit scores are fluid. It's very rare where someone just stays at the same credit score.
Right.
It's very rare. Even the rich and wealthy. It's very rare where they just stay at the same credit score. There will be times where their credit score will just go and go from, maybe the 800 all the way to 740. It might go down to 700. And then it may go back to 760.
It's ever changing.
It's ever changing.
Even if you're paying your bills on time.
Right.
Before time. your credit score can still drop.
Yep.
5 points. Like, what happened?
Yeah.
It's one of those weird things, man.
Yeah, and it's very normal and okay for business owners to hold balances, and that's completely okay, which is totally a different mindset from when you're just a W-2 worker.
Right.
But it's okay because, again, if you put down, you need $10,000 for a marketing campaign, $20,000, and you're not going to get the money back for another 60, 90 days, then yeah, that's why you hold a balance. And sometimes you may need to use that on your personal credit. If it's on your business credit, then it doesn't matter. But it's very okay. But I'm glad you mentioned that credit scores, finances, same thing with mental health, same thing relationships, same thing with any type of real relationship with anything, is fluid. It's ever changing.
It's ever changing. And I want to jump on something you said in regards to the business aspect of it. Like, I remember growing up in the house, everybody was telling me, you don't want to have no balances. You don't want to have any debt. You don't want to have, and so we're afraid to go out and make purchases, or we're afraid to go out and purchase certain things on the credit cards. We're afraid to go out and acquire new debt. And what I want to tell everybody, it's a time and place for everything. It's really about your strategy and what you're trying to accomplish. Yep. So you have to look at your debt to income ratio, right? And if you're trying to go acquire something else, you need to free up space. That's when you need to clear that debt, right? And if you're okay with what you have that's going on and you're trying to take another avenue and you don't need to clear any debt, it's okay to hold on to that debt and pay it off early. Right? It's pay it off early so you don't get any crazy interest fees. And there's also credit cards and loan companies out there that are great with interest or stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's like it's about timing and what you're trying to do and where you're trying to go. Don't feel like debt is necessarily a bad thing. Debt is a bad thing when you're trying to go accomplish and purchase other things and acquire other things, and you don't really have the debt to income ratio to take care of it. But when you go and accomplish that thing, it's okay to pay for that thing. Right. You see what I'm saying? Yeah. Especially if you can't pay for it cash. You see? And so it's timing, it's strategy, it's knowing exactly what it is you're trying to do and what you're trying to accomplish. Everybody's goal and everybody's road is different. And so know what it is that you want, know what is priority, know how to get to those things, and be diligent through the entire process.
Yeah, man, whenever you want to co-host some of my episodes, man, you can come on, man. Because, dude, you guys need to listen. This is exactly, I mean, the listeners know. Viewers know this is exactly what we preach, but it's coming from another successful entrepreneur. Like, this take notes, you guys. So we only got a few minutes left. I know we can just keep going on this. So, but the last thing I want to talk about is, what's going on with you right now as far as your business. Talk about your business real quick and what you got kind of planned for right now and moving into.
Oh, what a glorious time! I've been working on 4 projects for the last 4 months, maybe more, and they're all new instrumentals for TV and music placements. And I keep telling everybody this is some of the best music that I've ever created, some of the best music I've made in my life. And I can't thank my guys enough, Isaiah, Leroy, and David enough for being dedicated and down with the process, because they've made me better and in the short term and in the long run. I feel like I have infinite creativity because of these guys that are around me. But we're working on 4 projects. We're working on a movie project that's called Surreal. We're working on a pop project that's called Energy. We're working on a hip hop project that's called Focused, and we're working on a R&B project that's called Love Story. So these 4 projects that we're working on, each project has about 15 instrumentals for TV and film, and we're going to be really, really gun-ho and making sure those get placed on the TV shows and the movies that we want them to get placed on. And so we're almost done. We're about 4 songs out from finishing the movie project, and about probably like 6 songs out from finishing Focused, which is the hip hop project. But once these are done, we are gonna have a grand old time in getting these guys placed to where they need to be. We have our mindset on a couple of different production networks and TV shows that we want to get these placed with. As of right now, I have stuff placed on ESPN every single day on This Just In, First Take with Stephen A. Smith, Sports Center, goodness gracious, NBA Today, NBA Countdown, And then I got some stuff that's with Netflix senior year that came out in May. And then there's like 4 other Netflix originals, Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld.
Oh, okay. I saw that.
Indeed. And then I have a lot of stuff internationally that's placed. And so a lot of the stuff that I've already done is being worked. Like it's working for me at the moment and constantly getting placed and constantly building the resume. But what we're doing right now, I feel like it's some of my greatest work to date. And I'm really excited about it. So if anybody want to know, like my Instagram page is like 70% business, 30% personal. And so I throw a little sprinkle of personal in it because people love to see the personal side. And so my Instagram, where you can follow my IMDb link is there. The link to my website is there as well. My Instagram is my home. Whenever I want to speak to the world, I go to Instagram. It's marvelous_infinite audio. It's marvelous_infinite audio. That's MARVELOUS_infinite INFINITE audio AUDIO. Marvelous_infinite audio. And everything you need to know about me and what I got going on is right there.
There you go, guys. Check him out. You heard where he said it's at, and don't worry if you didn't get it. I'll drop it in the description below so you guys can just go directly there. And where if people want to just listen to your music, just in general, maybe I know you have a service where you provide creatives, background music, and other type of things like TV. Where can we find that?
Absolutely. So we have a site that's called infiniteaudiomusic.com, and that is a subscription-based platform, a subscription-based website where different creatives can use original music for their videos. And so if you're a videographer, if you do wedding videos, or if you just on social media and you want to use your own music, original music, you can go there and use that. You have podcasts that you need music for. We have tons and tons of music. I think maybe it's up to like 1,000 tracks on the website right now that are royalty free. You can use them however you want them, whenever you want to, and you're not going to be charged outside of the monthly subscription. Or you just want to hear what kind of music we got, and that's a great representation of what we do and what we've done.
I need to go check it out myself, man. I might need to put some background music in my stuff myself coming soon. I got a lot more content coming soon. So
nice, man.
Nice. I would love to keep going, but our time is up because, hint, listeners, he's probably going to be back on a different show than I'm on.
Hey, man, I'm going to double back. I'm here today. This is my home today, baby.
So we're going to wrap it up. Thank you so much, DeMarvelous, for jumping on Financial State of Minds.
No doubt. I'm glad you had me.
Yeah, I really appreciate the conversation. You guys go check out his music. Go support him on all the projects that he's doing. I'm gonna look for that Focus project, man. That sounds great. I love hip hop. I can still spit these bars.
There you go.
But
live.
You already know. But all right, you guys, thanks for tuning in to Financial State of Minds, the show where I help you get to that bag, manage that bag, and grow that bag as best as possible by teaching, talking, and coaching you through financial and business literacy. You guys, thank you again for listening. We're out of here.
No doubt. God bless.
Money on my mind, so money on my mind, money on my mind, money on my mind, money on my mind, so money on my mind, money on my mind, so money is all I think of, money on my